A key part of communication is writing effectively. Before you put pen to paper, it's important to understand your reader's needs, outline the structure for the document, and have a clear objective. The objective isn't limited to the subject, so ask yourself, what am I trying to achieve? With the answer, construct a target statement clarifying the desired outcome for your writing that describes the intended action, not the content of the document. It's important to acknowledge any hidden objectives you have that could negatively influence your primary aim. These relate to what you want to do and how you want to make the reader feel. For example, venting your feelings to make the reader feel guilty. Who's the reader and what are they looking for? Tailoring your writing to the reader's needs is one way to make it effective, although it's not always possible when writing to a large group. You need to understand your reader's knowledge level, attitudes, and preferences, which can be achieved by identifying their background. Generally, the higher a person's managerial level, the more their interests move away from the technical how to the commercial why. It's important that your document is structured in a way that makes it easy to follow, as the most common cause of ineffective writing is poor structure. To form your structure, list all the points you want to make and sort them into groups under key headings, which are then arranged into a logical order based on how you want to present them to the reader. Your writing should always have a beginning, a middle, and an end. The introduction should inform the reader of the subject and its relevance to them. The middle covers the full findings of your research into the subject, while the conclusion summarizes the key points and covers what should come next. Once you have a plan for the structure, you can start drafting the document. It's recommended that you leave the introduction for last, as the document will evolve as you're writing, impacting on what you need to include in it. It's also best to start with the easiest part, the middle. Don't try for perfection straight away. Remember, you can always go back and edit later. If you're struggling with a sentence, accept the best version you have. Move on to something else and come back to it later. A solid block of writing is intimidating, so break it up into paragraphs to make it easier to read. Paragraphs are distinct sections within a document that express a single point or idea. Consisting of one or more sentences, they're usually indicated by a new line or indentation in the text. Another way to break up text is to use bullet points to convey several closely related points, which also helps the reader absorb and remember information. Professional writing is achieved through the economy of language. Your meaning can be lost in the fog of unnecessary words, so look for shorter alternatives to long, complicated phrases or words. For example, instead of using consequently, use therefore. If you're required to express emotion or take personal responsibility in the document, use I. However, if you're stating policy or organizational responsibility, use we. What about editing? Editing your writing can make all the difference to its effectiveness, as it allows you to pick up and correct flaws. It's best to leave the document alone, preferably overnight, before editing it, as the distance will allow you to look at it from a fresh perspective. Always edit your own work first, reading through the entire document to ensure it flows before focusing on the language and content. It's good practice to also ask a colleague to read through your work and identify any missing points or unclear passages, but don't ask them to rewrite it. Remember, you have an obligation to your readers to write effectively by balancing brevity and clarity. To achieve this, outline your objectives before starting, be economic in your use of language, and always edit your work.